Right now at 5, a judge in McDonald County, Missouri formally sentences a woman convicted of killing her husband.
And we've got another chilly start to the day out there, but we're going to be a little warmer this afternoon. We got to look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus an update on impeachment proceedings against the mayor of Carthage.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. Now it's Tuesday.
Yes.
And it'll be Tuesday in my head, I'm sure, for the rest of the week. It is October the 8th.
Yes, you
we had a pretty nice October day yesterday.
Sure. Yeah.
It's not going to be that bad
No.
today, but it will start to get hot again, unfortunately. It's just the way it is around here lately.
Yeah.
Just doesn't seem to like us very much, but we'll deal with what we can. And as we discussed last week, you've had plenty of time to get some outdoor work done for sure. Let's start with a look outside from our camera downtown Pittsburgh. We're looking pretty good. We got a few clouds out there this morning, and I don't have it ready to go. I'll have to bring it up a little later. There's actually a couple of showers outside of our viewing area, just to the west of Chautauqua County out there. It's not very big. It's not much. It's probably going to fizzle out soon, but might get a stray shower or two in our far western counties. Our camera 7th and range line in Joplin, also looking pretty good this morning as well. Head a little further south to the MoDOT camera at 20th and range line. Again, it's always so interesting to see range lines so empty because traditionally we're used to it being so busy. And the KDOT camera 69 East 520th Avenue also looking good this morning as well. Future track into this afternoon, so we'll have a few clouds out there. Better chances for clouds are going to be in our far western counties as we head into the afternoon. And then we go later into the day and into the evening, and we'll see those clouds begin to clear out, leaving us with clear skies and a roughly northeast wind. That'll become calm as we go into the overnight hours as well. Quick look at temperatures, 51 in Joplin, 49 in Pittsburgh right now. And as we head across the region, the blue colors here, it's a little cooler. So Stockton sitting at 45. Miami is at 43 this morning. So pretty chilly start. So low, mid, upper 40s and then some low to mid 50s across the region. So again, another morning where many of us are below normal to start, but our highs today are going to be a bit above normal. Kids getting on the bus. Again, a few clouds out there, 47. Winds are expected to be calm. Later today, those winds northeast at about 5 to 10, 77 when the bus brings them back home this afternoon. That's where our highs are headed for most of us as we go into the mid to upper 70s. A couple of low 80-degree readings will be possible out there as well. As we head into our Wednesday, temperatures are going to be about, say, 10 degrees or so above normal. And we might see a stray shower or two Thursday. We'll go over those details and have the latest on Hurricane Milton here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. Well, a McDonald County judge yesterday formally sentenced Dawn Wynn to life in prison without parole for shooting and killing her husband, Harold Wynn, in 2021 near Anderson, Missouri. Now, during her trial in August, the defense argued that the initial investigation of the scene included a series of missteps as well as no fingerprints on the murder weapon. A forensic pathologist testified that Mr. Wynn could not have committed suicide due to the lack of trace evidence, gunpowder, or burn marks. Wynn was also sentenced to 15 years in prison for armed criminal action. You'll find more details on the case on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, Joplin authorities were clearing a crash on I-44 West near Range Line just after 10 a.m. yesterday morning when another crash occurred. The secondary crash, which happened in the eastbound lanes, involved 2 school buses and a towed vehicle. The first bus was towing an SUV. As the first bus slowed in traffic, the second bus crashed into the towed vehicle, crushing it between them. Authorities say both buses were new and being delivered to a school district but did not have children on board at the time. There were no reported injuries. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. The city of Neosho, Missouri has support for its infrastructure on the way. Yesterday, the city hosted a presentation announcing the receipt of community development block grant funds. Neosho plans to utilize the funds to improve parking in the city.
This will enable them to be able to park in an area that they don't have to get out into traffic. It will enable them to have a little bit easier access to the building, and be able to come and go. The transportation in the area, the public transportation in the area will be able to access the building better. So it'll make a difference in how they live.
Attendees include City of Neosho representatives, Neosho Housing Authority, and Community Development Block Grant Program representatives. The City of Joplin held a council meeting last night. The council discussed a number of items, including emergency ordinances to revise school zones, as well as school zone speed limit times around a number of schools. The council also discussed increasing the speed limit on 44th Street from Connecticut to Range Line from 35 to 45 miles per hour. The city of Carthage is in the process of moving towards the impeachment proceedings of Mayor Dan Rife. KOAM's Melissa Alexis breaks down what's happened so far.
Carthage City Council has discussed the impeachment of Mayor Dan Rife starting back in April. The articles of impeachment filed by the Carthage City Council accuse Mayor Dan Rife of violating his oath and duties as mayor. One of the other points of conflict include tension relating to the Carthage Water and Electric Plant. Timothy Engelmeyer was supposed to be hired as the hearing officer when the impeachment hearing date was set. However, Rife filed for a temporary restraining order against the proceedings. A Jasper County judge determined that the delayed hiring of Timothy Engelmeyer violated Mayor Dan Rife's due process rights. As a result, a temporary restraining order was granted to Rife, temporarily halting the impeachment. The mayor's attorney believes that certain members of the council should be disqualified from being part of the impeachment jury due to bias. The date for the impeachment hearing is tentatively set for October 29th. In Jasper County, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
The temporary restraining order was resolved, and official plans for the impeachment hearing will be discussed tonight at the Carthage City Council meeting. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Missouri Southern football previews its matchup with Emporia State. We'll have those details. Plus, the Nobel Prize in Medicine was awarded to 2 Americans for their discovery of microRNA. And we have a nice and sunny day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Missouri Southern football fell to Central Oklahoma on Saturday, dropping the Lions' 2024 record to 1-5. MSSU is still searching for its first home win and first MIAA win of the season. This week, that pits the Lions against 5-1 Emporia State.
It would be really easy for some of the blunders and frustrations that we've had this season to just like, hey, screw it, 2025, here we come, but I think our guys have a tremendous amount of respect for each other and the hard work and sacrifices that we've made in the summer and off season. And we understand that the results are not what we wanted. It's not what we planned for. It's not what we weren't shooting for this start.
It all starts in practice, getting those reps, everybody talking, communicating, seeing what we see, seeing what we don't see. I mean, I feel like that's the biggest piece coming out. And in stacking days.
Contest for the Lions will be their third-ranked opponent of the 2024 season. Yesterday morning, we got an update to the Division II coaches poll. Pittsburgh State moves up 3 spots. The Gorillas were ranked 10th in the last 2 weeks, but get bumped up to 7 after a few upsets on Saturday across the country. There are just 2 other MIAA teams in the top 25, Central Oklahoma at 13 and Emporia State at 18. Central Missouri dropped out of the top 25. The Mules were the preseason number 2 team in the country, but have lost to UCO and Fort Hays State. Now to Missouri High School volleyball. Webb City at Carl Junction. Bulldogs' only loss of the season came against the Cardinals 10 days ago. First set, the Bulldogs starting fast. CJ's Jaden Howard bumps it to Caitlin Kennedy, and she gets vertical to slam it down for the kill. Bulldogs need 30 points to win that set. They lead by 1. But the Cardinals respond in the second set. Savannah Crane assists Jaylee Rutledge. She shows off the power and gets the kill for the Cardinals. Cards win big, and now we're tied at 1. So to the third set, and it's nearly as long as the first one, but Cardinals know just who to look for. Rutledge again slams it to the court, and that's another one for her. She gets 20 kills on the night. Cardinals now up 2-1. Fourth set, Webb City with a chance to put it away with the Bulldogs. Crane bumps it to guess who, Rutledge, and gives it a love tap. That ends it. Webb City defeats Carl Junction 3-1. Cardinals are back at home tonight against Parkview. Bulldogs travel to Marshfield on Thursday. That's some commitment news. Miami High School junior Danae Green announces her verbal commitment to University of Missouri Kansas City. Green has been a standout pitcher for the Lady War Dogs for the past couple of seasons and just helped lead them to a third consecutive regional title. She and her teammates play in the Class 4A Super Regionals against Wagner this Thursday. The Royals continue their playoff run last night after losing by 1 run in the first game of the American League Division Series on Saturday. They hope to even the series. And the Royals do exactly that. They win 4-2 in Game 2. And this is a best-of-5 series. It's tied at 1 game apiece. Kansas City scores all 4 of its runs in the top of the 4th inning. Salvador Perez got things started with an RBI. Game 3 is scheduled for Wednesday at 6:08 at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. Big night for Kansas City sports. We've also got the Chiefs hosting the Saints on Monday Night Football. Fourth quarter just wrapping up last night, and the Chiefs win this one 26-13. Patrick Mahomes throws for more than 300 yards, but no touchdowns. Kareem Hunt gets into the end zone, and the Chiefs join the Vikings as the only 5-0 teams in the NFL. Still to come, we're going to hear how wrong arm positions during blood pressure checks may lead to overestimated numbers. Plus, get another check of your forecast and when the heat returns when we return. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:17 now on this Tuesday morning. We're going to start with the future track here in our area. And as we head into our afternoon, we've got a few clouds out there now. Could have a few additional clouds just kind of hanging around. They will be brief and eventually clear out. And temperatures today are going to be a bit warmer than average for many of us out there. And some of us a little bit warmer than average compared to your neighbors. As we head to tonight, temperatures expected to be relatively close to where they're supposed to be for this time of year. And we go into Wednesday, it's going to be another sunny day with ample sunshine and winds trying to kick in a little bit out of the south and southeast. We're going to see temperatures continue to climb, putting many of us upwards of 10 degrees above where we should be. Now Thursday, again, remember with the future track, this green zone is not just a bunch of rain out there, which is unfortunate because that's what we need it to be. But as we go into Thursday, we'll have an opportunity initially mainly into southeastern Kansas and then possibly stretching to parts of Oklahoma. In those zones where that green highlight is, we could see a pop-up shower or thunderstorm. So even though it's showing this zone, it's just saying that anywhere in this area where that green was is where a pop-up shower storm could be, but that's going to be the problem. So we may only get 1 or 2 stray showers out of this Thursday, but at least somebody somewhere might get some kind of rainfall. Then we have Hurricane Milton churning in the Gulf of Mexico. Made it up to Category 5 strength yesterday, has come down to Category 4 strength, but is only a few miles an hour away from returning to Category 5 strength, which is what is expected to do a little later today. It'll return back up to Category 5 strength and then begin to weaken once again as we head into Wednesday, and then by late Wednesday, early Thursday, expected to make landfall right around the Tampa Bay area as a strong Category 3 storm, and then it'll track across the peninsula, so we're talking Daytona Beach, Orlando, and stretch even as possibly down as far as south as Fort Myers, and then it will eventually just push out into the Atlantic. Now, with that said, some changes. Hurricane warnings across a good portion of the west coast of the Florida Peninsula. Tropical storm warnings echoing either side of that, which does include Key West and the Florida Keys as a whole. Then we have tropical storm watches, and including Miami, and then hurricane watches stretching up toward Jacksonville and the Georgia coastline out there. So still a lot to keep an eye on. Of course, this area is still recovering from Hurricane Helene, and Hurricane Milton not looking to give them any kind of a breakdown there. In our area, again, cool start out there. 51 in Joplin right now. The winds are calm across the area and the skies are mostly clear, but again, a few clouds here and there. Temperatures a bit chilly. Miami right now is the cold spot at 43 degrees, and the warmest spot out there looks to be Chanute, sitting at 56. So we've got a good range of temperatures. So some of us at maybe a little above normal, like Chanute. Others, like Miami, well below normal out there. Getting our morning started again, a bit chilly, a few clouds here and there. Upper 40s by 8, near 70 by 11 o'clock this morning. Our highs today, mid-upper 70s, couple of low 80s will be possible. Low to mid 80s on our Wednesday. Got the pop-up storm chance on Thursday, and we continue to warm. Upper 80s and maybe even the low 90s heading into the weekend. Got another boundary coming through Sunday night. It'll cool us back briefly. We'll go back into the low to mid 80s next week, and maybe a few stray showers next Thursday. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning. The Food and Drug Administration says Eli Lilly's weight loss and diabetes drugs are no longer in a shortage. Mounjaro and Zepbound have been in a designated shortage since 2022, but they both trigger the hormone GLP-1 and curb hunger. Eli Lilly has invested heavily in expanding manufacturing for its weight loss and diabetes drugs. Since August, the company has been pushing to end the shortage designation, saying the drugs are now commercially available. While the FDA no longer considers the medications to have supply issues, the agency warns patients and prescribers may still experience disruptions. Well, a new study finds common but incorrect arm positions during blood pressure checks may lead to overestimated numbers. The recommended position is having your arm supported on a table with the middle of the cuff positioned at heart level. But that isn't always the way readings are taken at home or in the doctor's office. The study found having your arm resting on your lap or hanging by your side can lead to overestimated systolic and diastolic readings by several millimeters of mercury. A person is considered to have high blood pressure or hypertension if they have consistent readings of 130/80 or higher. Now, having high blood pressure raises the risk for heart disease and stroke, which are leading causes of death in the U.S. Well, more than 42,000 women are estimated to die from breast cancer this year alone, according to the American Cancer Society. Experts say early detection is critical, and there's a way to guide women towards the best time to start screening for this disease. It's called a breast cancer risk assessment. Amanda Gaither explains how a patient's risk is calculated and when to get an assessment done.
When it comes to breast cancer detection and prevention, one size does not fit all.
Individualized care should be involved when it comes to breast screening and breast care. And that means that everybody's going to have a different screening protocol based on their personal and family history.
Breast surgeon Dr. Erica Peters with Cleveland Clinic says that's why breast cancer assessments are done to measure an individual patient's risk of developing the disease. There are many tools that can help, including surveys online or done in a doctor's office. The questions calculate risk based on things like age, family history of breast cancer, or other cancers that might indicate cancer-causing genetic mutations, personal medical history, age of first live birth, race and ethnicity, breast density, and hormone exposure. The patient's score will determine when to start breast cancer screening.
Most average women should start annual mammograms at age 40. Some women should start screening sooner based, again, on that personal and their family history.
Peters says all women should get a breast cancer risk assessment at age 25, especially when there's a family history of breast cancer. For those who don't know that history, genetic testing can help.
We rely on our genetic counselors who can do a pedigree to the degree that we know about family history, and then do testing to see if you do carry a genetic mutation that increases one risk of breast or other cancers.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Now, Dr. Peters says that most breast cancers aren't caused by genetics, so she says in addition to knowing your risk, it's important to minimize it as well. That includes eating a healthy diet, staying active, and limiting or avoiding alcohol. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
We've got a few clouds out there as we get our day started. It's going to be a little warmer this afternoon. Details when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, the Missouri Secretary of State gives a civics lesson on what happens to a ballot when it's submitted.
And we've got a few clouds out there to start our day. A little bit on the chilly side, but we're going to be a little warmer this afternoon. Details coming up.
Plus, the Frontenac United Methodist Church celebrates 75 years of feeding the community.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:29. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Tuesday, October the 8th, and it may not be spooky outside just yet, but it is technically spooky season. It'll be Christmas in a couple of weeks. Thanksgiving's next week, and then Easter follows shortly after.
Fantastic.
At least that's how the stores, I'm telling you, that's how they certainly make it seem sometimes. Like, we can't even get to Halloween before they put Christmas up. I mean, I love the holidays, don't get me wrong, but...
And it's important that you mention Thanksgiving, because they skip over it sometimes.
Well, there's no real... I mean, you can get little, turkeys to put up, but that's... Nobody really decorates for Thanksgiving. You don't put inflatable turkeys in your lawn that often. I don't even know if they have them.
More people should.
They probably should. Well, let's start with a look outside, and you will see 0 inflatable turkeys from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. And because it's still a little dark, you will not see necessarily the cloud cover that's out there, but we do have a few clouds here and there. Taking a look from our camera at 7th and Rangeline, I still see no inflatable turkeys, but again, that's otherwise not a bad start to the day. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline, looking back to the southwest, also looking pretty good this morning. So we'll head over to the KDOT camera at 69 East 520th Avenue. Of course, that's just south of Pittsburgh. Also looking good this morning. Future track into this afternoon. There's not really much to show. Here are some clouds over here that are showing up on the future track, but we could have a few stray clouds across the region as we head into the afternoon and early evening hours before those will eventually begin to clear out. And as I mentioned, we're going to be a little warmer this afternoon, even though we're pretty chilly this morning. 51 in Joplin, 49 in Pittsburgh, and across the area, we have some pretty cool spots out there. Miami right now sitting at 43 is the cold spot. Newt, just up the way, is the warm spot. Oh, sorry, Stockton's taking it over now, 42. But either way, still pretty cold. Many of us below normal this morning. Then we're going to be a little above normal later. Upper 40s when the kids get on the bus. Few clouds. Winds will be calm when that bus brings them back home. We're talking mid-upper 70s and a northeast wind around 5 to 10. That's where our highs are headed today. Mid to upper 70s, maybe a couple of lower 80-degree readings in there as well. And those clouds begin to clear a little later this evening. We're going to be upwards of 10 degrees warmer tomorrow. We'll have details on that and the latest on Hurricane Milton here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, it's just 4 weeks until the general election. And when you turn in your ballot on November 5th, do you know what happens next? The Missouri Secretary of State says the next step is a process called certification. County election officials gathered the tabulated numbers from ballot machines for an initial count. Now, those unofficial results are typically released on election night, but official results can take much longer. Every ballot is counted physically and analyzed by multiple people over the course of several weeks.
Sometimes we will notice a problem on election night with a number, but once we've put it out there, we don't change it until we go through the certification process. Because the last thing we want is for numbers to be changing and people saying, hey, what's going on there?
Now, the certification process typically lasts for 30 days past the election. When the process is complete, official election results are published on the Secretary of State's or the State Election Board's website. The November general election is quickly approaching, but in order to vote in this election, residents must be registered in the county they live in. Now, the deadlines for voters in Missouri and Oklahoma to register are this week. The deadline to register to vote in Missouri is tomorrow, Wednesday, October 9th, and the deadline to register to vote in Oklahoma is Friday, October 11th. For more information on where and how to register, you can visit our website at KOAMnewsnow.com/elections. And some Oklahoma voters should be aware the Ottawa County Election Board has announced a change in polling locations. According to the board's Facebook page, the location for voters in Precinct 23 will change from Quapaw City Hall to the Quapaw Fire Department meeting room. The board says the location change is due to the storm damage at City Hall. Frontenac United Methodist Church members got busy making noodles for its well-known 75-year tradition called the Chicken and Noodle Dinner. Now, the church invited Frontenac Middle School's faculty to lend a helping hand. We got to sit down with one of the original members, and she says it's all done to benefit the church's fundraiser. Other members express excitement for the middle school students who helped with the workload.
It's a lot of people don't realize how much work is put into making the noodles, and it's just not making the noodles, it's the ones that cleaning up and serving and this and that.
The church will start taking orders Wednesday of next week. There is something fun to do for everyone at the Pryor Creek Pumpkin Patch. Now, the farm is going on its 4th year. Nick McPherson runs the patch with his wife, and they enjoy watching people enjoy their time when they stop by.
Last weekend we had princesses come out and we had a big royalty party, and we had like 200 kids here the second we opened almost, and it was just packed, and it was very fun seeing just my daughter grow up and watch her around all the princesses and everything too, and it's really fun just having different events.
The Pryor Creek Pumpkin Patch is open every Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Tuesday from 5 to 7 from now until October 27th. The Pumpkin Patch offers all sorts of activities for families, including a pumpkin shooting cannon. Now, on Halloween from 6 to 9, candy will be shot from the pumpkin cannon every half hour. Along with the cannon, they have bounce houses, a corn maze, a corn pit, and much more.
My husband asked me if we wanted to open a pumpkin patch. I was like, okay, because we're crazy people. And then we turned around and we bought 5 bounce houses, and we decided to open it to the public and see how they kind of liked it. So we just started off with 5 bounce houses and a corn pit and like a baby train.
The Pumpkin Patch is open Friday from 8 p.m. to midnight, Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight, and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. The Missouri Department of Conservation has some advice for keeping animals safe during spooky season. The department says one Halloween decoration to watch out for is fake spider webs. They recommend using smaller webs instead of larger ones, and they also recommend checking your webs on a regular basis and keep them closer to the house.
Some people are doing ropes that look like spider webs. What ropes are a better idea, because that doesn't have that clingy catch, clingy type material that can catch wildlife. I mean, squirrels can climb on ropes, other things can fly around ropes. It's not the big catch device.
Now, he also recommends checking your webs on a regular basis and to keep them closer to the house. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. 18 civilians, including 2 young children, were injured in a Russian strike on Kherson. Plus, 1 year after the start of the Israel-Hamas war, about 100 hostages still remain captive. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch. The Nobel Prize season has officially kicked off, and Americans Victor Ambrose and Gary Ruvkin were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine on Monday. This was for their discovery of microRNA, which are molecules that govern how gene activity is regulated. Now, Mr. Ambrose is a professor at the University of Massachusetts Medical School, and Mr. Ruvkin is a professor of genetics at Harvard Medical School. Now, the two split a $1 million award. Nobel announcements continue for the rest of the week, with the physics prize being awarded today, chemistry tomorrow, literature on Thursday, and the peace prize on Friday, and the economics award on October 14th. Wildfires ravage homes in the Bolivian Amazon this week. Over 20 houses made from palm trees burning to the ground in the Riberalta region. Now, the fires consuming millions of acres of grassland and forest in recent months. The nation's president declaring the situation a national disaster. No injuries have been reported. Russian strike injures 18 civilians in the Ukrainian city of Kherson. 4 glide bombs striking various residential buildings Monday morning. One of those explosives hit a school that had been previously destroyed. 2 of those injured were a 3- and 4-year-old. Russia's attacks continue as the war is soon to enter into its 3rd year next February. The United States, Israel, and others mark the 1-year anniversary of Hamas's deadly attack on Israel, igniting a war in the Middle East, which has now spread. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed Monday in a speech Israel will continue to fight, although a humanitarian crisis continues to grow in Gaza. And many international allies have pressured the leader to negotiate a ceasefire and hostage release deal. Connor Hansen has more from New York.
Thank you for being with us, for being with our community on the commemoration of this devastating day.
President Biden and the First Lady bowing their heads in prayer, marking the 1-year anniversary of the October 7th attack in southern Israel by Hamas militants. It was the deadliest attack on Jews since the Holocaust. More than 1,200 people were killed. 1 year later, about 100 hostages, including several Americans, still remain captive.
Unlike the Holocaust, we fight back, and we're fighting like lions with the support of the American government.
After the highly coordinated attack by Hamas, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced his country was at war. Israel began airstrikes on Gaza and launched ground offensives. The fighting over the past year has left more than 41,000 Gazans dead, displaced millions, and ignited a humanitarian crisis in the region.
It is far time to end this conflict and to begin the work for a common future for Israelis and Palestinians with equal measures of security, dignity, opportunity, and freedom.
The U.S. has vowed military support for Israel in an effort to prevent a wider war from consuming the Middle East. But the goal is proving more difficult as time passes. In late August, Israel exchanged fire with Hezbollah in Lebanon. Then in September, mass explosions of pagers and walkie-talkies used by Hezbollah members killed at least 12. Israeli forces crossed the border into Lebanon, which sparked a response from Iran. It launched nearly 200 missiles in retaliation for the new offensive and for the Israeli killing of top Hamas and Hezbollah commanders. Despite pressure from the international community, ceasefire and hostage release talks have stalled.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's about to be 5:46 on this Tuesday morning. I told you about some rain showers, and I wanted to show them to you, and here they are. They are actually happening. Now, the bulk of the rain is just to the south of Bloomington, outside of our immediate viewing area, but we have a couple of stray showers in Elk and Chautauqua counties. That's really about it, but hey, there's at least some little bits of rain out there. Now, unfortunately, if you watch, it's almost like there's a barrier right here, so it's not really making it beyond that, but there's a couple of stray showers here and there, and you can see what some of that cloud cover looks like out there until we get some daylight and you can see it a little clearer. As we head into the afternoon, though, we are still looking at mostly clear skies. We'll have just a few clouds here and there, and our temperatures today going to be a little warmer than normal. And as we head into our Wednesday, we're going to start off at, or maybe even again, a little below normal, but we're going to go almost 10 degrees above normal as we head into the afternoon across the region. And then we head into our Thursday, and Thursday is going to bring us an opportunity similar to what we're seeing right now, an isolated shower or storm. So remember, on the future track, this green zone that it's highlighting, unfortunately, is not a big area of rain. This is indicating that in this zone, we could get 1 or 2 stray pop-up showers or storms, but that goes away, unfortunately, very quickly, and what we do see Thursday will be very isolated out there. And we've also got Hurricane Milton out there at 157 miles an hour. It becomes a Category 5 again, which is what it's expected to do after it strengthened to Category 5 strength yesterday, weakened a little bit last night, but is expected to pick back up in intensity a little later this morning, back to Category 5 status. Then it should weaken back down to Category 4 status as it approaches the Florida Peninsula, but it'll still be expected to make landfall as we go late Wednesday, early Thursday in the Tampa Bay area as a strong Category 3 hurricane as it tracks across the peninsula and eventually out to the Atlantic. So we've got hurricane warnings do include Tampa and Fort Myers. Tropical storm warnings, so just southeast of Panama City. They do include the Keys. Tropical storm watches, including Miami. And then as you head a little further up toward Daytona Beach and Jacksonville, we have hurricane watches out there. So unfortunately, haven't had a lot of time to recover from Helene, and Milton looks to be a very devastating hurricane for Florida as we head into the middle of this week. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. For us, we're still dry and it is cool out there. 51 in Joplin. Skies are clear and the winds are calm. Out across the area, Stockton is now taking the lead as the cool spot, sitting at 42 degrees this morning. So almost 10 degrees below normal out there. Chinook's still hanging on though as the warm spot at 56. And we've got a mix of 40s and 50s as we start the day. So some of us at normal or just a little below out there. A few clouds through the morning. Chilly start, upper 40s. We'll be into the upper 60s though by 11 o'clock this morning. Highs today, mid upper 70s out there, maybe even a couple of low 80s. Tomorrow though, all of us heating up, low to mid 80s, and we start seeing upper 80s. Again, isolated shower storm Thursday, maybe even some low 90s heading into the weekend. Then we got another boundary coming through Sunday night, and this has been like clockwork. This will be the third week in a row that almost at the exact same time we get a boundary through that'll drop our temperatures a bit. Unfortunately, it doesn't look to bring us any rain, and then that cool down is short-lived. We'll heat up again next week, maybe an isolated shower or two next Thursday. That's checking your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, a woman in Wayne County, New York was at the right place at the right time earlier this summer. She happened upon a man who was suffering a heart attack while riding his bike. With the help of a 911 dispatcher over the phone, she saved his life. Danielle Finkenstein was there as the man and the woman were reunited Thursday night, and she was honored for her heroic actions.
Mark Reisig, former teacher, grandfather, and athlete.
I used to bike 160 miles a week on average, so yeah, been doing it for 30 years. I actually am a triathlete.
That's why he was shocked one day when he found himself struggling 16 miles into a bike ride.
I've had no prior indication of any health problems with my heart whatsoever. No family history of it, and so it was devastating.
Reisig was experiencing the beginning of a heart attack, just as Molly Ames was driving by.
The way he got off his bike seemed a little distressed. He seemed like he was struggling, and something in my head just told me that something wasn't right.
Ames called out to Reisig, who told her to call 911 right before losing consciousness. Dispatcher Megan Williams answered that call.
So I knew then we had to do CPR, and really her helping and being calm with me so I didn't have to, get her to do that. She was very willing to do that, and that helps a lot.
That's really how it was able to get done. So I would hope anybody would do that. I really do. I would hope anybody would do that.
Ames would perform CPR for 7 minutes until the ambulance arrived. By the time medical professionals were able to get Reisig's heart started, he'd been in cardiac arrest for nearly half an hour. But because of her, Mark is back on his bike.
She helped a total stranger, and without thinking about whether how much it would impact her life, she just acted exactly the right thing at exactly the right time, and I can never repay and never thank her enough.
Reisig encourages everyone to take the time to learn CPR. We'll be right back. Well, some big changes are coming to McDonald's most popular sandwich. The fast food chain says the Chicken Big Mac is making its way to U.S. locations after it quickly sold out in its 2022 United Kingdom debut. The Big Mac alternative comes with the same ingredients as the original, with 2 tempura chicken patties replacing the beef. McDonald's says the Chicken Big Mac arrival in the UK was its most popular launch ever. Now, the new take on McDonald's staple item arrives October 10th, but only for a limited time. Well, get ready for some comfort food because today is National Pierogi Day. You can celebrate the day by ordering pierogies at a Polish restaurant, make your own pierogies, or host a Polish-themed potluck meal. The semicircular Polish dumplings are made of dough that's boiled and then baked or fried in butter. Now, they're stuffed with all kinds of great stuff like potatoes and cheese, but the possibilities are endless. Dessert pierogies are stuffed with fruit and can be covered with maple syrup, chocolate sauce, whipped cream, or applesauce. I was distracted by the delicious looking pierogies for a second.
Okay, I was too. I walked over to the green screen and I grabbed a remote, because that's what I need for the weather computer. I grabbed the Roku remote. And I made it to here with that before I realized, no, wait a minute, that's not the. I was distracted too. Something about the pierogies. There's something about them. I don't know what it was.
Take
but
2 orders, please.
The Roku remote won't help us, and desert pierogies don't sound as good as dessert pierogies do.
Maybe a little dry.
A little bit. We're going to be a little bit dry as well. Got a few clouds out there as we go through the morning. Chilly start and eventually into the upper 60s later today, or later this morning rather. Highs a little warmer than normal. Upper 70s, maybe a couple of low 80s out there. And we'll have another cool night back into the low 50s, so relatively close to average with clear skies. After that though, tomorrow we're about 10 degrees warmer than normal, and we continue to heat up, maybe an isolated shower storm Thursday, pushing near 90 by Saturday. We'll be back with more right after this.